Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first chapter of Introduction to Flutter, and this is the Flutter tutorial. So now we're gonna learn that what Flutter is and what are the different features of Flutter and how we guys are going to work over here. So let's not waste much time and let's get started. So the first thing which we're gonna learn over here is what is Flutter and why do we use Flutter. So if I tell you guys for a basic definition of Flutter, so Flutter is basically a cross-platform application development. And over here in this simple definition, what do we mean by cross-platform? So the code we will generate to make an web application, let's say for a mobile or for a Windows, with the same code, we will be able to run that particular code for an Android application as well as for a Mac application. Okay. So this is a mobile cross-platform application development framework. And also we can develop different kind of web pages, maybe for Mac, if you're using Linux. So if I tell you guys in simple word, you are just developing a particular set of code and you are running that particular code in different environments. Well, if you can actually run that same code for Mac or an Apple phone, if you're using, you will be able to run the same code. If you're using an Android phone, you will be able to use that same code to develop an app for a web page. Okay, so this kind of works like that. Okay, so this is a highly cross-platform application development framework. And now the next thing what we are going to do is that why we should use Flutter and how it is helpful. So we are going to look into some of its features because once we move deeper into our classes, we are going to explore more of it. Okay. So some of the features of Flutter that it is an open resource. So what do you understand by open resource? So Flutter is basically free, like you don't have to pay anything to use Flutter. So all the things which are available over there to create your web application is basically free because there are so many websites, there are so many frameworks for which you guys need to pay. Okay, but Flutter here actually provides us with all the free resources using which we guys can actually create a front end and also a back end feature of an application. Okay. And the next feature of why we should use Flutter it is that it is a highly cross platform framework. So as I've already told you that why it is a highly cross platform framework, because let's say you are creating an app. Okay, let's say the name of your app is exercise dot io. Okay, and if people want to access your particular application, you are going to code it for different platform. Let's say for iOS, you're going to code differently. For Windows, you're going to code differently. For Linux users, you're going to code a bit differently. For uh, Android application, okay, you are going to code it differently. But over here in Flutter, you are just coding once, which will be applicable to all the platform available. Okay, so with minimal effort, let's say you don't have to do the same thing or the same coding back again and again differently for all the other platforms because you're just coding once and you're applying it in all the platforms available. So this is very highly cross-platform application and saves a lot of your time. Okay, very time efficient as well. Okay, and the next feature is that you will be able to see the instant changes you make. Okay, let's say as you're coding inside, okay, And once you're coding, if you make any changes, you guys will be able to see that particular change once you're working as well. Let's say you did make some change in your font which you're using, okay, inside your application. You will be able to change, you will be able to see the changes in the emulator right at that particular time itself. Okay. So at the same time, this particular uh, framework is very like it actually responds quite well. Okay. So that's another good advantage of using Flutter. And the next feature which we're going to learn is that you will be able to access all the native features of the device you are using. Okay. So what do you mean by that? You will be able to access all the native features. So let's take an example. You are on your phone and you're accessing a particular application. Okay. And also, here you need to understand I'm talking about the native features of a particular device you're using. Let's say it can be your laptop, it can be a phone, okay, it can be your desktop, okay, it can be any phone, let's say Android phone or Apple phone, okay, it can be an iPad, whatever you're using. So this particular devices, they do basically have some native features. So native features like the GPS, okay, so you can have the vibration, the ringtone. So all these things are different for different devices, okay. So these are called the native features of the device. So you will be able to access all of those, okay, from Flutter. Let's say if someone open or click on a particular button, you can just respond. You can just tell them or give the code to Flutter that once they click on this, just give it up a vibration. If they're using a phone while they're working, okay. So you will be able to access all the native features which makes your application more interactive and more interesting. Okay. So that is another feature which is a lot important for making it quite more interactive. And the main thing about Flutter is that you can use minimal code to get the most outcome. Okay. So you might have seen in different languages of coding, you need to write so many codes to basically get some outcome in your website. Okay. So here, Flutter basically offers some minimal code to get the most amount of outcome. So you don't have to write a lot of code to get a particular small outcome or a small change. But here it actually provides you that with minimal code and very effective outcome which you will receive. So overall, Flutter is basically highly interactive and highly time efficient framework which you guys can use to build your website, build your web application. You can build your mobile application as well. Okay. So I hope you guys have got an introduction of what we are going to do throughout this tutorial. Okay. And why should we use Flutter for developing our web application? So yeah, I hope to see you all in the next chapter where we're gonna learn that how you can install Flutter and how you are going to install all the necessary items before getting started on creating your web application in Flutter. So see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone.